I always had the opinion that Bellarmine did everything right.
Recruiting, and more recruiting.
Well, I don't really care what my time is. And they're like, okay, so like, what do you think you're going to go? I said, faster than you.
Listen, this is what you do. This is what day it is. This is everything else that happens during the Derby.
The next pitch I saw, I hit a no-doubter, and that just set the tone for the little tournament, and we freaking ran through that thing. I love telling that story.
I don't think I'll find anything like this ever again.
Welcome to another episode of the Knights of the Round Table podcast. I'm Jack Kaiser, and as always, make sure you follow us on our social media platforms to find the links and clips to all of our episodes. Just search at BU Knights. Today, we are joined by senior Garrett Tipton from the men's basketball team. Garrett, how you doing today, man?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. We found the president's room is a pretty good spot. I know it's called Knights of the Round Table, but it's metaphorical, right? It's more of a actually rectangular table. But no, thanks for coming on today, man. You enjoying year 5 of college so far?
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, not a lot of classes. Coach likes to joke with me about that one. Just night classes. But yeah, everything else is going pretty good.
What's your latest night class? Like, I don't know how late they go.
Well, it's kind of nice doing the NBA. It's every other week.
Okay.
It goes till 10.
Okay.
6:30 to 10, but it's kind of nice. It used to be every week, 6:30 to 9. But they added the extra hour and gave us a week off, and I was like, yeah, it's fine with me. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We were just talking about coffee and how that keeps you up sometimes. Are you more of a night owl or a morning guy?
I like to be a morning guy. I want to be. Yeah, I mean, growing up, we were definitely morning people. Dad was really big about getting us up before 8 a.m., even during the summer. So sleeping in wasn't really our thing. So I'm usually mornings. I like to get my sleep, but when we don't have a lot of things till 11 or 12 o'clock, sometimes you stay up a little bit. But yeah, usually a morning guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think college kids will take any chance they can get to sleep in a little bit, especially this time of year with you working as hard as you do.
Mm-hmm.
As far as class goes, I know you have that one big class every other week. Is that like the only class you have?
Well, I have 3 of them, so I do Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Got it.
They're 3 different classes, but yeah, this is it for me. Once I'm done with this, I'll have the NBA. So
okay,
just trying to power through that. That's kind of the light at the end of the tunnel. Keep looking for that.
What's the toughest one you have right now?
I would say probably it's more of an accounting type class, financial class. It's kind of stuff we've already gone over, but a lot of projects, a lot of getting that stuff together. It's nice to have groups.
Yep.
But I would kind of say that one. The other one's kind of like a HR class, and the other one's management class. So.
Do you like the projects more than taking actual tests?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, my last two years, just because the senior year, you don't really do much test either. It's kind of set you up for the MBA, especially in the business program. But yeah, I would much prefer, even if it's an individual project.
I'm always curious about this with student athletes. How do you get your homework done? Are you a guy that wakes up early in the morning, churns it all out? Do you stay up late doing it, do it on the bus, whatever it is?
Usually kind of just set it out. Like, I know when it's due.
Okay.
And that's we'll set a time. That's when we're going to do it, and we do it then. The mornings aren't great because, I'm still trying to get up, get moving. I want to be completely focused on it.
Yeah.
But usually, we got breaks. We'll have one practice in the morning and then not until the afternoon. So that break time's perfect. I already got moving. I'm kind of awake. I'm ready to go. So, usually in the afternoons is a good time to kind of knock it out.
Do some guys try to do it on the bus?
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of guys that grind it out on the bus, which is great. I mean, that's good. I mean, I can't do that because it's I just can't with the moving and the Wi-Fi and stuff that always messes up. It's just not my go-to. I'd rather be sitting at a desk doing it than moving on a bus. I'd rather just watch my movies or listen to podcasts or whatever I do while I'm on the bus.
I'm totally the same. That's just not the environment for me.
Yeah.
Any plans for what you want to do after basketball in college?
Yeah, there's ideas. I'd like to stay within, sports, but business as well. I got into sales this past summer, and that's something that I figured I was pretty good at. So just kind of get into that. Definitely going to be moving away from here. My family's moving to North Carolina. My parents are going to start breaking ground here probably in a week, build their house, hopefully be in there at Christmas time this year. So definitely looking at like Raleigh, Charlotte area to move out to, looking at jobs out there, just the environment. The job I worked this summer has an office out there. So, once I decide what I want to do after this year, probably give them a call and see if I can, join that office out there. If that's where that company I really want to work for. If I find something else that kind of catches my eye, we'll kind of look into that.
Why's your family on the move?
Well, my brother's big in golf. He plays at West Virginia.
Okay.
He's a big time golfer. So we're a big golf family. It's kind of what we do outside of playing basketball. I'm the only person in my family that's ever played college basketball, so it's either been golf or football. So to say that we're big golf, mom and dad are moving to a golf resort down in Pinehurst, North Carolina.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they're building on that property.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why North Carolina. I want to be close to them. I want to be able to play golf. That'll be my second kind of competition when I'm done with this, is to stay competitive, is play golf all the time.
Yeah.
It'll be enough just playing my dad most of the days.
Can you beat him?
I got really good this past summer. This past year was a really good year for me. Played a lot more than I have, and I got him one time. I got him a couple times this past year, but he's the old coach, right? He's very meticulous. He knows how to score. He gets you when you're beats you when you're down. I have a bad hole, he has a really good hole. If I have a really good hole, he has an average hole. So it's really tough to beat him. I don't think I'll ever be able to beat my brother. I think the day that comes, he probably should give it up. Yeah. But it's exciting. I mean, it's something that I've always wanted to move. It's why I'm from Columbus and I came down here and tried to make this a home. And it's been good to me the last 5 years, but I also want to get moving again and just kind of jump around until at some point in your life you can't do that. And,
right.
While I'm still able to do it, I'm gonna do it at my fullest capacity.
Yeah, right now is the best time to do it, right? You're young, you want to go explore, see new things. So that's cool that your entire family's moving out there, man. Yeah. So West Virginia, if you're good enough to go play D1 golf, you are like unbelievably good compared to everybody else. So what's the best score that each of your family members has shot? Do you know?
Well, my brother, unofficially, I don't think he's ever shot this in competition, but me and him went out to play kind of a really nice course during COVID. It was a really nice course. It was in April. He was a member there before COVID, and they just let us go out one day. They didn't have a bunch of people. He shot 61.
Oh,
so that's unofficially, I think that's the lowest he's ever shot between us. I shot 76 that day.
That's still great.
So it was kind of nice to, feel good about myself, but also just a bunch of circles on his card. But yeah, he's that I would say him unofficially, and he's probably shot a little bit lower. I take that back. This past fall in competition, he shot 62, and that was qualifying for one of their tournaments. It was he called me afterwards. It was one of the best he's ever seen himself play. Dad, I can't tell you. Between me and him playing, he shot 68 before, 70s. The 68 was kind of on our like little home course we have at home, but playing out there, playing on like kind of a real harder course, I would say I think it's 72. So I played with him and he shot that before. Mom is the putt par 3 lady. I don't know if you're familiar with Pinehurst, but they have a par 3 course there, and it's our big thing. We love to do that. It's like when we go visit, that's the first thing we try to do.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing Mom wants to do. When we're playing, she's at the pool, and if not, she's playing the par 3 with us. And she had like 3 or 4 times that I've played with her, she's had a couple times that she's almost holed out. But she doesn't like it. She doesn't like how long it takes and all that stuff. But yeah, mom's got a natural swing too. So yeah, that's kind of our family thing is, that's what we like to do in the summers is just good for all of us to kind of get out there and do that.
Like multiple times a week?
Yeah, that's well, with my brother, he's doing it every day. But me and my dad, we like to, when we play in our trips, we play, 3 or 4 days in a row.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
Does your brother want to go pro?
He does. He has it in him. He's a little bit taller than me. Very natural swing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's definitely something he wants to do. He's got a backup plan. He's a smart kid, financial major at West Virginia. I think he's averaged like a 3.3 or something like that. So
That's great.
Playing in the Big 12 too is it's like the SEC for football.
Okay.
So it's the best golf conference by far, any of them. So he's playing the best guys in the country.
Yeah.
Every time they go to a tournament or every time they're playing in the Big 12 championship. So it's been good for him. It's nice to see his growth. I mean, he was on a podcast back in the fall where he shot plus 97 when he was a freshman in his first qualifying events. And then their very last qualifying event, he shot, 22 under. And just to see like him go from here to there has just been, awesome. Because I've seen it. I've been in the trenches. You know how it is with brothers. You see the lowest of lows and the highest of highs. So, hopefully he does amount to that dream. It's something that me and him have both kind of done together, just seeing him be able to live that out. Hopefully we can live vicariously through him. So hopefully he does pull that out.
I mean, we just kind of tying that into you and what you've done here at Bellarmine. You're a very like calm guy out there on the court, and I equate that a lot of times to mental toughness, and it makes sense coming from a golf family where you literally, that is the sport you have to be most mentally tough, period, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that I would say that, and then also we grew up with a dad who was a football coach for 25, 30 years. He raised us to be mentally tough, that nothing that we were going to do was going to take us down. Nothing that anybody else was going to do was going to be able to take us down. And being able to just stay within the moment. And he pushed us and coached us through and yelled at us. And nothing that anybody's going to say to me or anything's going to happen out on the court is anything I haven't heard or said or done before. So
right.
Just being able to stay within the moment, like you said, it's kind of it is within the golf realm, but also just kind of how we were raised.
Right. Absolutely. That's good stuff. So when did you feel like, all right, everyone in my family's played golf or football, I'm going to go split and play basketball in college? When did you realize that?
So I was 10 years old. I was one stroke off of going to this, drive, chip, and putt, like the Nationals down in Orlando. I was one putt away. I missed it, like lifted out or something. I came home and was like, all right, I don't want to play golf anymore. I lost that big thing. You don't want to do it, right? So I ended up playing baseball. My uncle pitched in the majors for 13 years, and cousin just retired from playing baseball for the last 10 years in the majors. So we were, baseball was next, and it was just too slow for me. You couldn't score when you're on defense, and you couldn't do this. And so I was like, all right, football or basketball. Yeah, gave up baseball and got hurt my sophomore year. Played a little bit my sophomore year in high school. Got hurt, tore up my shoulder a little bit. And I said, you know what? Basketball is obviously something I'm pretty good at, so let's just stick with that. And last 3 years of high school, just stuck with it. It was good to have trainers and people around me to kind of help with that because, my dad knew football and he learned to know basketball. And, and I think that, that was kind of it. We just kind of was fast-paced. It was, I don't like to sit very long. I like to keep moving, like moving around. And I thought, basketball's pretty fast-paced outside of football. So that's kind of something I fell in love with. Gotcha.
You mentioned your cousin. He just retired this summer. Were you able to go see him play quite a bit?
I did. We went out when he was with the Red Sox. Went to Fenway, did the whole on-field experience. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Went to Milwaukee a couple times when he was up there. When he was with Toronto, it was kind of that COVID time, so we didn't really get to go up there. But I got to see him play on TV. It's always cool to see somebody like pro level because it's like. I see him at Christmas time and Thanksgiving like he's just another cousin, right? But then you see him on TV and these guys talking about him, and same way with my uncle. They always talk about him, and I see him all the time, and they both follow me doing what we're doing now, so that's kind of cool. Ex-pros are following you doing some mid-major college basketball, so it's kind of nice to have that. But it's always cool to just kind of humble it out, right? Like just see that yes, there's so much bigger with the pros, but he's also still your cousin.
They're regular guys.
Yeah. And that's what's cool about it.
They're just so good at like one thing. It's amazing to see. Travis Shaw's who we're talking about, by the way. the mayor of Ding Dong City.
Yes. Yep.
So what's the basketball scene like in Columbus? It's obviously major football territory. Is it, still pretty big time over there?
Yeah, no, it's a very tight-knit community. We like to call it that way. A lot of guys know everybody, especially when they end up going to college. They still follow them, and even after college, if they still want to stay in it, most of them go back there and help out, either coach or, train. It's a tight-knit community. We all try to just stay together. We've been playing with each other forever, some of these guys. And, there's guys that didn't play college basketball that I still talk to, just because it was a grind going against them every day, whether it be in high school or when we played AAU against each other or with each other. And, just kind of see it as kind of a tight-knit community. It is a football town, for sure. But, basketball still holds its weight.
Did you grow up going to Ohio State games?
So my dad was never, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but Dad was never a big Gene Smith guy.
Okay.
So, we weren't, he didn't want us to go play at Ohio State.
I gotcha.
That's how it was. Brother got offered to play there a little bit. They didn't give him quite the amount of money because, golf's different.
Yep.
They didn't give him quite the amount of money that he thought he deserved because he was really good in high school, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So he ended up, at West Virginia. But, we followed him. It was, it's close. They were good. We followed them growing up. And, when I got to college, all my friends that had all these teams, I'm like, I'm the only thing I am is a Steelers fan. Grandma, since I came out of the womb, made sure I was a Steelers fan. So it's like really the only, pro team I have is that, and then wherever my cousin is for baseball. So they were like, my friends got it. I was like, all right, I'll just pick up Ohio State. And then, ever since freshman year, I just became that Ohio State fan again and started following it. And, it's good. So it was something that we didn't really need to enjoy. His dad kind of told us to stay away from it, but
I gotcha.
He's like, hey, there's sports on TV. Watch that. That's kind of how it was.
When you're in a town like that, you can't help but follow it. Most of the time.
Absolutely.
Is Kenny Pickett the future?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I don't know who's going to stay, in the AFC just because it's
loaded.
Every corner you look, there's somebody.
Yeah.
But defense does still win championships.
Yeah.
And we got a pretty good one, so we just been waiting for that offense to come, and hopefully he carries us in his second year like we need him to.
Hey, Mike Tomlin, still 500 or better every single year.
Every year, we love it.
So this is year 5 for you here at Bellarmine, and you've dealt with injuries, or you dealt with injuries throughout the first part of your career. If you don't mind getting into it, what injuries did you deal with?
So I guess it was more, redshirted my first year. Second year, we had a loaded roster. We were really good. Just kind of wanted to play my role however that need be.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess, my third year was COVID year. And I was on track to kind of help out, maybe catch a little bit of the rotation. And I kind of, messed up my back in a lift. Then it just got worse, and decompression of my lower back. That if it was like a disc slip, anytime that would happen, I would lose kind of function in my lower legs. So that was something that we really needed to cut off and shut down. So I was out most of the. I'd come back and then it would slip again. I remember I was at home. We got shut down for COVID, and I went. It was Thanksgiving time, and I went to go pick up. I dropped something on the floor. Went to go pick it up. It slipped. Couldn't move. So it was like one of them things. I got back and I was just like, man, I couldn't do it. So I was out until, February, I think, into January. And so that year kind of, got scrapped. And then, after that, it was good. It kind of showed me that year, there's life outside of basketball.
Yeah.
It was good to kind of open up with that, and also not to take for granted when I do get back on the court how important that is. Then last year, obviously, I held up really well. I was kind of excited about that, played that role. But this year, been a little bit of ankle sprains, 3 of them this year on the same one. But, yeah, just fighting through that. I've done it my whole life. I think everybody that's played basketball has had an ankle sprain. So just fighting through that, been able to do that. But, yeah, I've stayed pretty healthy outside of that 1 year. And just keeping the body the way it's supposed to. I'm, smart enough now to know how to hold my body up, so just keep doing that.
When is the last time you sprained your ankle? What game?
So
Maybe practice.
No, it was warm-ups at Jack State.
Warm-ups.
Yeah, so I went up for a little, pregame, layup, and came down and just rolled over itself. So I played that entire game on that same ankle I did 2 days before Louisville, and then the week we went to play Miami, I did that same one. So it's 3 in the same one. It's back to normal now, which is good, but that's a highlight. I remember my freshman year, I redshirted. I rolled my ankle in a walkthrough. Now I redshirted, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But I remember rolling it in a walkthrough. So we've had some funny times that we've rolled the ankle. So
you said before Louisville, you scored 21 points in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Miami, 17 points in that game. Jack State, 21 points in that game.
Yeah.
Sounds like you need to roll your ankle a little bit more often.
I'm not a big fan of the pain, but the adrenaline is a crazy drug. So that definitely helps.
So you mentioned obviously taking a bigger role this year. At what point did you start to feel like, hey, I can take 15 shots and score 25 if I need to, or have you always felt that way?
I think it's kind of however they believed in me, however they wanted me to kind of fill a role. I knew, we lost Dylan, we lost CJ, so you kind of have to look in the mirror as a team and realize, where's our scoring going to come from. And I think we're going to pride ourselves on defense, which we have. The Lipscomb game was kind of tough, but leading up, to the other games, we've kind of prided ourselves on defense.
Mm-hmm.
And scoring wasn't going to be in bunches, but if we, hold teams where we think we can hold them to, scoring didn't need to come, and it's something that I think we all can say that we can improve on so far as keeping that defense up. But yeah, I kind of got in a groove there. The Louisville game was just pride, right? Like I felt like I needed to. I had some matchups, and I exploited them, and shots were falling. That's kind of how that works out, right? And then the Murray State game, same thing. Got hot early. Felt like that's what needed to happen in order for us to win. And it just kind of rolled into that as well. And that's just kind of how I felt like it would be best for me on this team, and best for the team as well. Just being able to, whatever I need to do every night. That's kind of how it was last year. And keep falling into that role is whatever we need every night for us in order for us to win. That's obviously the most important thing. So we need to, for me especially, just keep doing that.
It seemed like there was, if you just look at the stats, there was a shift kind of midway through the non-conference, near the end of the non-conference. You mentioned the Murray State game where you had 7, 8 in a row in double figures. Was there anything different that you felt during that time?
Not really. It is tough when you play Power 5 guys, right? Like you want to.
That's fair.
You want, you want to make the right plays against those guys. You don't want to overdo it. If you overdo it, they end up blocking your shot, going on a 10-0 run in a blink of an eye, right? Because they're just so much more athletic and just built different, right?
Yeah.
And so for us, I think when we started playing those teams that were like us, it was a good test to see, what was our conference going to look like. And I think that. Being able to do that kind of gave us an idea of what we could do in conference, and it was good to have those games. Always great to have those games. We love them, trust me. After the gauntlet that we go through,
right?
It's just kind of setting it up to see what the conference would look like, and so far it's been kind of what we expected. Games we should have won, but games that we know that we took care of business, and just kind of keep going from there.
You mentioned the ASUN. You talk to any coach across the league, coaches will have their coach talk and all that, but every single person says this is the best the league has ever been. From your experience, 3 years into the ASUN now, would you agree with that?
Yeah, every night's different. We know from top, I would say top, outside of a couple teams, it's unbelievable.
Wide open.
Yeah, and it's – and there, there's your Liberties, which you just been solid. Same guys as always are back, so you kind of know what you expect out of them. But there are a lot of teams in the conference that the young guys when we first got here are now older, like Kennesaw State, and then new coaches like Florida Gulf Coast that finally come along, and then Stetson's the same way. They bring in a couple guys, have a couple guys back. And then all of a sudden they're, winning. So it's from top to bottom, it's tough, and every night's different. There's no game more important than the one that's in front of you. And I think that everybody's starting to realize that with these upsets and some of these wins and just how tough it is.
Yeah, you mentioned the new guys coming in, whether it's transfers or even, guys like you played 10, 15 minutes a game off the bench last year. Boom, all of a sudden, hey, this is a guy now, and whether it's in-house development or bringing in the transfers, it's just I feel like that's bringing out the parity in the league and across college basketball even more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, like you said, that's kind of it's good for college basketball in a sense when you bring in transfers that go to the right place, when you transfer for the right reasons.
Right.
And it levels out the playing field most definitely. And more guys are staying in college. I mean, guys are they're not going pro, they're not going to the NBA. They're staying in college. It makes it more competitive. And I think every conference, the Power 5 down, would kind of say that that's how it is.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at the national landscape this year, and literally anybody can win it, and it feels like the first time in a while we've been able to say that.
Yep.
So you guys have done such an amazing job setting the bar high, and after last year, the expectation's always going to be like ASUN championship, and I know you guys set that for yourself, but that's an outside perspective now too. What is it specifically about this team this year that you think can help take you back to an ASUN championship?
Just kind of like I mentioned, our defense. I think offensively, we are coming along. In some teams, it just takes a little bit longer, right? Like last year, we were so old. We understood. Everybody knew their role. Everybody knew what they were good at. Everybody trusted each other in different aspects, right? And this year, it's like we got some young guys here, some new guys in different roles. And then you got like a Justin and Alec that, have been in that role for a couple years. And even with Alec coming back from injury, so it's a little different there as well.
Right.
So, defensively, we got to keep priding ourselves on that. And I think if we do pride ourselves on that, offensively, it will come a little bit easier. And even if we understand that if we score 60, 65, we're going to be okay with that, right? Because we're going to pride ourselves on holding, around the 50 mark. And I think that, that's what makes this team a little bit different and a little bit more special, is just kind of, that idea of just logging down defensively and priding ourselves on that.
Best defensive team that you've ever played on?
Here, yes.
Okay.
Just because, offensive, we had a lot of offensive guys in the past.
Yeah.
And then defensively, it was like, we're hoping the role players would take care of some assignments, and then we just kind of hold the ground. I think this year is more of the idea that we are priding ourselves on defense. That it's the focal point of this team. It hasn't been like that since I've been here, and that that's a good thing. Everybody talks about our passing and our ball movement and all that stuff, but if you got a good defensive team too, hopefully in the future for this program, if they can pride themselves on defense first with everything, and then the offensively, get recruits and develop and that stuff, that'll kind of set a stepping stone for more ASUN championships, hopefully.
Yeah, and you look at defense and try to find statistics to support that. First of all, you guys are still winning, but possessions per game, you guys, I think, are third to last in the country.
Yeah.
So you play a super slow pace. Jacksonville is right down there with you guys, right next to you, and both programs are really good. So you can win in multiple ways.
Yeah. Absolutely, and it's funny that people say that, because we always joke about it as a group. Is like, if you watch us practice, it's so fast.
Yeah,
like we're so up tempo, we're moving so fast, but it's like the way that we play offense makes it look like, because people always say the statistics. You listen to other guys that we play against, if they say, people say you guys play slow. We watch you on film, and you're cutting and moving so fast that it's a blown statistic, basically, that it doesn't really show exactly how we play. You're
fast within the possession, but a lot of times you take that shot clock down to 5, so that limits the possessions, and that can skew it, like you said. Last one, I'll get you out of here to go to your lift. I guess EKU's coming up on Thursday for you guys. You've played them a couple of times now. Last year, you've seen them. They're an improved team this year. What can we expect from that matchup?
Definitely they're going to try to, like we just kind of talked about, they're going to try to up the possessions. More possessions for them, the better. That's more threes they feel like they can get up, more they can get to the rim, kind of their idea. They press a little bit, keep the up tempo with that. And like with us, it's so contrary styles. We just talked about, we want to slow it down possession wise, and we want to lock you down defensively. We want you to make the extra pass. We want you to make that extra play. We don't want your main guy making the play. So it'll just kind of be button heads, and whoever style comes out usually wins the game. That's how it was last year. When we played them here, our style won the game. You played them there, obviously their style won the game. But I haven't really seen any film on them yet. That's today's objective. So kind of understand how they're improved. I watched them play a little bit. It's wild how they play. So just kind of break it down on film would be kind of nice. But when you're just kind of watching their game flow, it's a little wild. So we'll see. I know they got some young guys, but most of their older guys are back.
Yeah.
And what makes them, special and what makes them better than last year is those older guys mixed with young guys that can speed it up for them. So be kind of exciting, and I think in-state rivals or in-state games are always kind of a little extra to it. So.
Yeah, a little extra juice.
Yep.
Good stuff, man. Thank you so much for jumping on today, and good luck the rest of the year.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Garrett Tipton from the men's basketball team. They take on EKU Thursday at Freedom Hall. Make sure to join us if you can't watch on ESPN+. I'm Jack Kaiser, and Swords Up.